Attack on Titan Apocalypse releases in just a couple weeks, and while I'm extremely excited about this new set, the new interactions, the new cards that it brings us, I'm also extremely nervous. In my opinion, there's a lot of design choices being made at the moment that are worrisome, the chiefest of which is this set's treatment of the infinity symbol, which is completely different from anything that we've seen in the past. So in this video, I'm first going to break down the design of the infinity symbol in the early sets that are standard legal. I'll talk about how recent sets have changed that a little bit and how Attack on Titan Apocalypse utterly breaks that. I'm also going to go through some other design choices that I find worrisome, and I'll finish it off by saying, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I shouldn't be afraid of change. Maybe you shouldn't be afraid of change. Maybe all of this will be good for the game. Who's to say that all my ranting today is actually real? And maybe I've been stuck in my ways because I've only been playing for 2 or 3 years. The game has adjusted and maybe it's good the way it's going. So I'm not saying that everything in this video is going to be 100% accurate. It's just some of my worries about the design of this set. Before I jump into it, let me just ask you if you could like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, anything to get engaged with the video, to get engaged with the conversation, especially in a video like this where I'm very, very curious as to the player base's sentiments, to see if I'm totally off base or if other people share my concern. Anything really goes a long way in helping support me. Okay, let's start off here. The early standard legal sets, how do those treat the infinity symbol currently? Well, here are some cards. We got like Teamwork and Battle for the Future. These are some actions. They're both promos. Neither of them are game-breaking actions, and they're perfectly fine to have. Also, we have cards that are like set symbol restricted, like Bright Future. It's infinity symbol, so anybody from Undaunted Raid can use it, but it's only for Undaunted Raid characters. So while there's not a symbol restriction on the card, it's still pretty restricted. Also, Pro Hero Rankings is kind of similar. It's Pro Hero Breaker 1. Like it's a little underpowered like these promos, but it's got a little bonus for if you're a pro hero from like the Jetburn set, or before. And there's really not that many infinity cards from previous standard legal sets. Like this 4 was like 4, I think, of like the 5 or 10 that there were. But then recently we've had over 50 plus infinity symbol cards printed into standard, and most of them I actually think are perfectly fine. It all changed when Attack on Titan Battle for Humanity was released. So Attack on Titan Battle for Humanity came with new types of attacks and new card type like backup and shift attacks. So it made perfect sense to put these on the infinity symbol so that everybody had access to them. There were only 2 buildable backups from Battle for Humanity. So infinity symbol ensures that everybody can get them. Also, we have these assets, and while they're not symbol restricted, they're kind of restricted to if you're military police or if you're survey corps, right? We're restricting them based on traits. That's perfectly fine. We also have quite a few like underpowered cards that you can put the infinity symbol on, right? And it's not going to change the game too much. And these cards are not bad. Titan Armbar has seen some play in like Devil Jin. Attack Titan Strength, it gets +1 damage. If it deals damage, your rival commits 1 face down. Like I think we would all agree that's pretty underpowered for a 2-diff. And then there was vertical maneuvering equipment. And vertical maneuvering equipment was a problem. And I'm going to talk about it later, but it was the only infinity symbol problem in Battle for Humanity. So not a big deal, right? Okay, then we had Attack on Titan Origins of Power. Once again, it gives us kind of underpowered infinity symbol cards. Growing Unease. It's a 2-diff, first enhanced flip, draw 1 card. Typically flip, draw 1 with a 3 block mod. Typically that's on a 1-diff. Now, hey, it's on a 2-diff. I've actually played this with a straight face in decks before. If you're playing like a 4-check tribal deck, then your 2-diffs are basically the new 1-diffs. And so it's perfectly fine to play this. Maybe you're playing a symbol where you don't have access to a lot of spam draw. So it makes sense in certain spots. But by and large, Growing Unease is not finding its way into competitive decks. Citywide Celebration is a similar example. Commit, your next check to play an attack is +2. It's on a 3-diff. That's fine. I've played it also before in a 4-check tribal deck. Basically counts as 2 foundations if you know that you're going to be committing foundations to be playing attacks, but it's not finding its way into the meta. Okay, and then high speed dodge made sense to give to everybody because now, one of the big problems with Blitz when it first came in is that it was very difficult to interact with. And maybe that was the point of Blitz. So maybe it wasn't a problem, maybe it was actually a feature. But then they give everybody high-speed dodge so we can all have a way to cancel a Blitz. Soup was given to everybody, and Soup is like a perfectly fine asset. Basically, you want to play Soup if you care about assets, because it's not doing that much on its own. Once again, it's kind of underpowered. What kind of broke Soup was Mimic getting access to it, when Mimic gets an extra foundation, basically, on turn 1. And I'll talk about that in the future, but by and large, I don't think Soup is I think it's far from a problem. And then in Heroes of Exandria, we get the party backups, which make a lot of sense to be on the infinity symbol. And then we get some assets like this, like Vox Machina Breaker 2. If you're a Vox Machina character, you might want to be considering this for the Breaker. The Enhance is perfectly fine, but it's not that great. So we got some assets and then the party backups on the infinity symbol. Everything's making sense. So while we got like 50 plus infinity symbol cards, all of these make sense from a design perspective on why they should be infinity symbol. None of these were worrying me. In fact, I didn't even notice that we had a ballooning in infinity symbol cards coming out. Okay, but let's talk a little bit more about vertical maneuvering equipments. This is the card that I said was a problem. And there's 4 reasons why I think vertical maneuvering equipment was a problem. Number 1, it's extremely meta warping, giving everybody access to a spend a momentum, change the attack zone, +3 or -3 speed. This means that all characters basically that print momentum now get very, very powerful defense. You can like attack and know that if your attack hits, even if you committed 2 foundations to play that attack, if it hits, it goes to momentum and now it's -3 speed. That's better than those 2 foundations, and you got to change the zone. So it's almost encouraging you to like attack more. I was a big Mirio player in the past. I've had my best competitive success at large events on Mirio. As soon as vertical maneuvering equipment came out, it was basically, all right, goodbye Mirio. Like the big thing was that I got to change the attack zone. And now on defense, everybody has access to just a undeniably good and power ramped asset to change the attack zone on defense and give -3 speed. So anybody who can get momentum can just string block. The problem with vertical maneuvering equipment is how pushed it is in power level, right? Most of the other infinity symbol cards were all either gated or they were a little underpowered or serving a very specific niche role. But vertical maneuvering equipment, you can put this in almost any deck, right? Like 50% plus of decks, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'll toss in a vertical. Maybe I'll toss in 2 verticals. And I don't think that's very fun design for the meta as a whole. 2, it's difficult to design around. It's difficult to see problems from the card, right? At the time when we printed vertical, one of the characters that best used it was Ryukyu. There were a lot of blank cards that were coming out in Attack on Titan that she got to take advantage of. She got to very quickly get like 10 momentum, and now she could use vertical maneuvering equipment on every single attack. It's hard to see those things coming, and something like that could have easily been fixed by simply making vertical maneuvering equipment a Battle for Humanity only asset, to where only characters from AOT set 1 could use it. 3rd, it's just boring. Again, if you're looking at any deck in the game, you're considering vertical, and pretty soon, like 40% maybe, like meta decks are playing vertical. That's just not fun deck building. And last, it kind of loses the identity of symbols. Like in my mind, vertical would have made a great air symbol asset because we have cards like High Velocity Slice in Battle for Humanity that get you a momentum. Survey Corps characters are by and large on the air symbol in Attack on Titan. That's kind of like the world building design of the symbols. And so it would make a lot of sense to give the Survey Corps characters access to vertical only. And the air symbols thing is kind of like, I get a lot of speed, right? And now we give the air symbols some defense. And then characters lose identity. So when symbols became attuned, that meant that we cared less about like symbol identities and more about character symbol combinations. Now we care more about like, okay, I need to find a fire and air character. Or I need to find a death and life character. And we're not necessarily just looking at death as a whole. So those are the 4 kind of reasons that I think vertical maneuvering equipment was a mistake. They could have solved it in any number of ways. They could have made it air-attuned. They could have said Survey Corps only. They could have said Battle for Humanity characters only, and all of those would be fine. I know there's a very prominent section of the player base that would much appreciate vertical maneuvering equipment getting hit with a ban or an errata to one of those. Okay, and then we get Attack on Titan Apocalypse. And vertical maneuvering equipment, I mean, it's just one card, right? It's not that scary. And then Apocalypse gives us like 5 cards that are all broken on the infinity symbol. So it is far exceeding Battle for Humanity. And if this continues, right, what if we get another set with 5 broken infinity symbol cards? And then another set. And then we have like 20 infinity symbol cards that are stronger than cards on those symbols. Does that make deck building more boring, more meta warping, and just less like niche and fun? So let's look at some of these cards. First of all, Moment of Normalcy. This is a card I actually like. I like that it exists now, but it also just feels too strong to me for an infinity symbol card. 2 difficulty, unique, commit, return this attack to its printed speed or damage. So it's commit cost, which means we can use it over and over on every single turn cycle. And if we can find ways to ready it, then that's even better. And there's a lot of ways to ready your foundations to where we could be using this twice. And it's usable on defense, and it's usable on offense. It's usable on speed, and it's usable on damage. This card is just so crazy versatile. I don't see why every deck in the game shouldn't be running 1x of it. Right? Every deck, like deck sizes are no longer 60 cards because you should be running one of this. Like even if you're aggro, you should be running one of this because it's usable on offense. So if your opponent is like Rodan, right, and they say -3 speed, you can say commit, hey, +3 speed. So it's usable in so many situations that just like every deck in the game should be running 1x. And that's boring. Let's just look at how power crept this is compared to past cards. When I first came into the game from My Hero Academia Set 1, a card called You're So Obvious was extremely meta relevant. It was used a lot. It checked a 4 and not a 5, and it said destroy, return this attack to its printed speed if it's a punch attack it gets 2 damage, or destroy, return it to its printed damage if it's a punch attack it gets +2 speed. So it was like a speed or damage reset on offense or defense. Kind of played around with the punch keyword a little bit, but it had a destroy cost and it checked a 4. And now we're getting it, and it was a one-time use thing. And now we're getting a repeatable one that checks a 5. It's just like, why wouldn't everybody play this? Or like the new number 1. This is a big reason right now to play the Earth, Fire, and Order symbols. Anytime I'm building an Earth, Fire, Order deck, I'm normally throwing in 1 or 2 new number 1s. Commit, return this attack to its printed speed. This attack gets +1 or -1 speed. And that's on a 3 diff. But now we have it on a 2 diff. And I understand it doesn't come with that +1 or -1 additional, but we also get the additional ability of being able to use it on damage. It's just so crazy pushed that I find it boring. Why wouldn't you run a copy of this? All right. This one makes me mad. This one, when it got revealed, I got like legitimately ticked off. Nobody was asking for this. Unyielding Destruction. 2 mid, 6, blitz. Each player chooses 4 foundations in their stage and sacrifices the rest. Why? Why was this given the infinity symbol? Why do we have to worry about every single deck in the game getting an extremely, extremely low-costed board reset? I thought we learned our lesson with Colossus Detonation and Mimic, and now we're printing this, and now new characters like Annie can commit their backups to pass checks. Characters from Heroes of Exandria like Tarion are going to be able to keep all of their assets. That's difficult to design around. We could have not put it on those characters' symbols maybe. And then this is just a big feels bad game mechanic. Nobody likes when their stage gets blown up, and you can play City Rampage into this, and then you can kill them on 4 foundations pretty easy. And let's just look at this compared to some past cards. So once again, going back into the My Hero Academia days, in set 2 there was this card called Searing Glacial Storm. 2 high 6, checked a 2, first enhance only on the order symbol characters. Both players remove foundations into their stage until they have 5. End this enhanced step. Okay, so this was basically a 2 high 6 flash attack that reset the stages. And Searing Glacial Storm saw play. It saw a lot of play in sideboards. I have lots of memories of watching official streams from major events where Searing Glacial Storm came out of the sideboard and won someone their game 2 or game 3 because they were able to nuke their rival's stage. Also, Decay Awakened coming out in Girl Power. This is currently standard legal. First form, remove, destroy all foundations and assets and stages. Build the top card of your deck face down, your combat phase ends. Okay, it's a first form, so you have to play it first. Your combat phase ends. You only get one foundation, and it's a face down foundation. It checks a 4, and it's an action. There are so many costs to this card, and Decay Awakened has seen play. It's seen pretty niche play, but it's still seen play. Godzilla. The board wipe was so powerful, we put it on a character, and we made it once per game. You know, Unyielding Destruction we can do over and over and over again, and we're only getting more attacks that tutor attacks from our discard pile and our deck. It's just going to be toxic. You know, like any character, any deck in the game can use this, and who's going to use it? The characters and decks that are most toxic with it, that are going to be able to use it the most to their advantage. You know, maybe death decks, so that they can, when they destroy enormous acts, they build one, you know, and then they can destroy all their Bing Bong cards and seal your whole stage of your cards that are left over. Or, anyway, any of a million things. Or Colossal Detonation. Colossal Detonation was a 12 diff, and you had to commit your character, so you couldn't even commit your character to pass the check of Colossal Detonation, and it only happened when the attack resolved, so if your opponent played something like a Genkai's Guidance or a Cape of No Return, you were so screwed, because you just tried to play a 12 difficulty attack. This had a huge cost on it. And now we have Unyielding Destruction coming out for free. Board reset. In so many ways, the design of this card is straight Titan-sized booty cheeks. I hate it. Okay. I'm sorry, that one makes me mad. The 9 Titans from throughout the ages. Infinity symbol backup. Titan. First enhance, commit, lose 3 stamina. Double this at Titan's attack speed or damage. What? Response, commit, lose 2 stamina after an attack is played against -4 damage. Okay, it's really the first enhance. Double this Titan attack speed or damage? We can easily build this in on turn 1 in any 4-check tribal deck, and you know who builds it in for free? Before the game even begins, Hanj number 1 gets the 9 Titans from throughout the ages. So she just gets to start with it, and you're not allowed to attack it. An extremely powerful, ultra-rare backup like this maybe would be fair, you know, since you can attack it and kill it. But with Hanj, you can't even do that. And because they put it on the infinity symbol, Hanj gets access to it. Why couldn't they just say, oh, this is completely broken in Hanj. Maybe we shouldn't put it on a Hanj symbol. You know, Hanj is already pretty good. I was playing Hanj with a straight face competitively in an Ace Arena just a couple months ago. A very good 4-check tribal deck. And then in attacks like Female Titan attacks, another infinity card gets to ready a backup. So if you're playing this in like Hanj, you play an attack. Let's say you play a Knockdown Blow, for example, which is a Titan card, so it works. Let's play Knockdown Blow. Let's double the damage. Now it's 14 damage. And then let's play Female Titan attacks. Let's ready 9 Titans. You know, and then we can use 9 Titans because it's a first enhance. And because first enhance is not the gate that it used to be, not with blitzes. And so now Female Titan attacks is coming in as 10 damage from the Knockdown Blow. Now we can commit 9 Titans and it's 20 damage. Like, this is going to lead to so many non-fun, feels bad turn 2 kills, in my opinion. And it would have been pretty easy to design around had they not given it the infinity symbol. All right, another pushed asset, Military Airship. Commit, freeze this card, add 1 card from your card pool to your hand. I'm not like upset about this one. It's just another very powerful infinity symbol card. So anybody who can find a broken interaction with it can. And already we've had Travis Tangeman, one of the best players in the game, has come out with a video where it's all about playing a character that can very quickly get to 5 counters so that we can play, if we have 2 Tasty Riffs and 2 Military Airships, we get to get this like infinity combo basically of always getting to pick up Tasty Riffs, because when we build in a new Military Airship, the other one destroys due to the unique thing. And then we can build in another airship or something. Like, it's kind of gross. And that's my point with strong infinity symbol cards. They're going to be broken. Filled with Doubt. An action. After your rival plays an attack, seal it. I love this one. I know a lot of people aren't as high on this action as I am. I think it's extremely good, giving everybody access to just an immediate seal. Like, let's think about cards like Sweeping Daggers. Hey, seal your Sweeping Daggers. It's just a 5 mid-4. I don't have to be scared of a 5 mid-4. Colossus Confrontation. You're not going to ruin me 3. You're not going to build a card from your hand. You're not going to search your deck for a card and add it to your hand. Like, that is well worth the cost of 1 card from your hand and clogging your card pool by 1. And now it's on everybody. Like, imagine if Runaway was on the infinity symbol. Right now, when a rival sits down from across the table from me, I'm doing the math right away on if they're a Runaway symbol. Because I'm going to be thinking, okay, can they possibly do this, right? And how do I prepare for this? Well, Filled with Doubt just gives everybody an out. You know, I wouldn't want Barrier Shield on the infinity symbol, Runaway on the infinity symbol. That's just, I don't find it fun. It's boring and it's meta warping. Okay, those were the infinity symbols. I just took one of every asset type just so you could see how pushed these are. This is the action, this is the asset, a backup, an attack, and a foundation. So there's just 5 examples of how crazy pushed. It's like we're going crazy with more vertical maneuvering equipments into the game. And maybe I just don't like change, but I don't like it. Okay, some other things that worry me about Attack on Titan Apocalypse. Peak is just hilarious that they allowed this character out the front door, like, and then that they had the audacity to to have Connie revealed the next day, one of the worst characters ever printed. Like, how is the design team getting these characters so far apart in power level? Peak is just, I think Peak's incredible. Marley's Warriors. Why do we give this foundation access to Peak? Flip your checks to play attacks, get +1 this turn, and then we can blow it up with Peak for value. And now we can really easily get that turn 2 momentum going. Colossus Confrontation. I don't like all of these new like deck searches that we're getting or specific attack tutor cards. That worries me. We're already a game where we're drawing up to 5, 6, 7 in hand size, and we can draw like 3, 4, 5 cards during our turn. So we're already seeing like 20% of our decks sometimes in a single turn. We don't need specific things to make specific combos even better. Colossus Confrontation. It's a 9 diff. Ooh, but it's really a 7 diff because you build a card from your hand and this turns into a foundation. It's a 7 high 10. It has Breaker 1. You search your deck for any card in the world that you want. No gates on it. And add it to your hand. And then it turns into this foundation that says that you can just first form commit something for your rival. Like, this attack is incredible. And I don't like searching our decks for more things. Like we're printing Warp Gate Portal on a 4-check? What? In what world is that okay? Resurrected Titans. Blitz. Sacrifice a foundation. Search your deck for a backup or shift attack card. Reveal it and add it to your hand. The next backup or shift attack you try to play this turn gets -3 difficulty. Okay, cool. So this attack is basically a 5 difficulty attack. Right? And we like it being an 8 because it's going to force us to commit something and then we can just blow it up to this Blitz effect. We can go find, if we're on like a Life Chaos character, we can just go find Knockdown Blow. And now our Knockdown Blow gives +3 to our next check. And now our next check for a shift attack gets +6 or -6 difficulty, you know, -3 difficulty and +3 to the check, or however those cards work with each other. But you get the point. Why are we making like a 5 diff, 7 mid 7, EX2, powerful 2, search your deck, selectively tutor the card that you want? I didn't even read this. I don't even know what it does. After you make a check to play this attack, reveal the top 2 cards of your deck and add 1 of them to your discard pile. Okay, cool. All right, another attack tutor. Jaw Titan's Bite. Discard a card, add a copy of Jaw Titan's Bite. All right, I get it. It's not that well statted. It's like a beast summoning. But do we really want more beast summonings in the game, especially at a lower cost? You know, I'd much rather discard a card than lose 4 health. Falling Titans. This one, guys. I hear the old heads calling this like a reprint of Shield Big Bang. I don't know what that means, but anytime they start saying that it's a reprint of a card that was utterly broken, I start to get worried. And then immediately Travis Tangeman comes out with a video where he's showing this, flock deck that only runs 4 of these, and that's its only attacks and then you just combo off and you keep adding it to your hand and playing it and playing it and playing it and playing it. Do we really want like 4 attack decks like that happening more often? And there's so many more characters that just freely get in backups. This character alone kind of makes me wish I didn't see this when I first put out my ranking of characters for Attack on Titan Apocalypse, and I put Flock and the new Zeke kind of low, and this attack kind of makes me wish that I didn't do that I maybe put them on row 4 instead of row 5. Warhammer Titan attacks. It's just like, hey, it's stun 1. So it's basically like a 7 mid-7 that immediately clears your card pool and gives all of your stuff +1/+1. Ymir Fritz. Like, I don't think this backup is actually that good. It's coming from a shift attack that's pretty difficult to play. And then we have to have 3 momentum. And then we have to keep this thing from dying because it's a first form. So like our rival's going to get a turn to attack into Ymir Fritz. But my question is like, do we really want effects in the game that say take an additional turn? That seems very scary. Like when there is a deck that breaks this, we're going to have to ban it, right? Okay, Final Slash, I'm not too worried about this, actually. Just like, it worries me when we're experimenting so much with 1 difficulty attacks. New Outwit cards are extremely powerful. Bleak Commentary, you can basically flip Botan's Coaching, force your rival to draw a card, and then you can hit them with all your Bleak Commentaries and discard their hand. Military Tactics is crazy powerful. Outwit, after your rival plays their 3rd attack or greater this turn, add it to their hand, and then we can find a way to flip it. We can find a way to ready it and then flip it, or we can flip it and then like use like Weightless to ready it, or like Inasa to ready it, or just in general, it's crazy. Like, do we want these Outwit trap cards getting this pushed? I think Military Tactics is by far the best one, but I'm just saying in general with the Outwit ability, is this going to be a healthy ability to continue getting pushed in the game? Kind of like these Yu-Gi-Oh! Trap cards. Okay, maybe all the ranting I'm doing right now is wrong. And maybe I'm just upset because things are changing. And if you go back and watch Tim Keefe's video on the history of universes, you'll realize that the game shifts a lot throughout the years. And I'm a relatively recent player compared to a lot of players that have been playing for 10 plus years. This game's been around a long time. And so maybe I'm just used to My Hero Academia days, where it was all about attack strings and string blocking. And now we have all these other decks being like cranked to 11, like Foundation Destruction will be very powerful. Resets are much more prevalent in the game. Bomb attacks are much more prevalent in the game. Hand rip strategies are better. Backups are here as card types. 4 attack decks are becoming real things with like Elder Toguro in this Travis video of a Flock deck. And so maybe I'm just not used to change and I need to open my heart up a little bit to Attack on Titan Apocalypse. You know, maybe it's fun to live on the edge and to explore new design possibilities and combos. And maybe these decks that really rely on finding their combo, maybe that's fun. And maybe that's where we're headed and it's going to be okay. And eventually, even if I don't like it, the game will shift in the coming years and coming sets, and then I'll like the way that the design direction is going at that time. You know, I kind of think of Kevin Broberg a lot here because he's always extremely positive in my Discord server. He's always like excited about everything. I mean, he just loves universes. You know, he always wants to be playing more, and he's won 2 world championships in my time as a player in very different metas. The Attack on Titan meta, he won it. My Hero Academia meta, he won it. Sorry, my throat's kind of having a hard time here. So 2 world championships in very different metas, and he doesn't seem too worried, at least from what I've seen, about the new set, and he's able to just adjust his play. Maybe players just have to evolve and accept changing circumstances. Maybe disliking major design changes like this just shows that you're stuck in your ways and unable to evolve as a player. I mean, the game engine itself still is staying the same, and it's a very, very good and fun game engine. So all of these things, like maybe I'm just not used to this and need to open up a little bit to it, and maybe it'll all be healthy for the game, and maybe these infinity symbol cards are going to be a lot of fun, and maybe if everything's broken, then nothing's broken. Maybe attack tutors are perfectly fine. More infinity symbol cards will be more fun to have a base, so that there's no symbols or characters just killed by not having access to a reset. So maybe it's great to give everybody access to a reset. Maybe it's great to give everybody access to an action that seals an attack. Maybe everything's going to be perfectly fine and universes will go on, and any problems that occur can always be fixed with bans and erratas. So I'm not closed-minded to this. I just want to make this video to voice some of my concerns about the design of Attack on Titan Apocalypse and why I find myself feeling a little less excited for this set than sets in the past. I think it's the least excited I've been since Girl Power. I'm very excited for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm still going to be buying a lot of product for Apocalypse. I'm still going to be having fun in Universes. These were just some things that worried me. And if you think, I'm kind of overblowing it here and everything's good, I would love to know that in the comments, how you feel about the design changes coming in Attack on Titan Apocalypse. And I want to see all of the new broken decks and broken interactions coming with this set on June 7th at the next Let's Talk UVS x Tam Cardwell Webcam Circuit event. It's going to be the first major competitive event for United States players to be playing in. There's going to be a Oceania regional, I believe, before June 7th with AOT3 being legal. But for your US players, this is going to be our first major competitive event to participate in. So a link to that event is going to be in the description of this video. If you want to be involved in the conversation about this game with me, more than just comments in the YouTube section, come and join my Discord. I'll have a link to that as well, an invitation link in the description of this video. That's where we go to talk about deck building, to find matches on Tabletop Simulator or webcam matches with other people to practice for regionals. That's typically kind of popping off pretty well. And that's where we go just to talk about life and other things. And we're always sparking a debate. If you get in there, there's a Spark a Debate channel that's typically just always going crazy. Half the time it's just me and Justin arguing back and forth with each other. But it's a good time. So if you want to join the conversation, I invite you to come and join. I would love to hear your thoughts about this. I'll see you next time.